The myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. This is one of the most tragic and poetic stories in ancient Greek mythology. The myth tells about the power of love, music, and the inevitability of fate. Orpheus is a mesmerizing musician. Orpheus was the son of the Thracian king Aegra and the muse Calliope. He inherited a poetic gift from his mother, and from his father love of music. Orpheus played the kithar so magically that not only people, but also wild animals became obedient, rivers changed their flow, and even stones listened to his music. Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus fell in love with the beautiful nymph Eurydice, and they became a happy couple. But their happiness was short-lived. One day, when Eurydice was walking through the forest, Aristus, a shepherd and the god of beekeeping, looked at her. She ran away from him, but stepped on a snake that bit her fatally. Orpheus, heartbroken, could not accept the loss. He decided to descend into the underworld and return his beloved. Traveling to Aida, Orpheus traveled to the realm of the dead, where none of the mortals had the right to step. On his way, he sang for Charon, a carrier across the Styx river, and he transported him across the waters for free. He packed with Cerberus's three-headed dog, which guarded the entrance to the underworld. He got to the palace of Hades and Persephone and began to play the lyre. His music was so beautiful and full of pain that even the strict Aid cried. The souls of the dead stopped their sufferings, even Erinyia, the goddess of revenge, were moved. In the language of Aida, Hades, although he was the lord of the dead, could not resist such a melody. He agreed to return Eurydice, but with one condition. Orpheus must go ahead, and Eurydice will follow him. But he must rotate until they leave the realm of the dead. Orpheus agreed. But this condition was his test. The way back, a fatal mistake. Orpheus walked through long dark corridors, listening to easy steps. Eurydice is behind. He could hear her breath, but he couldn't be sure she was really there. He was not allowed to turn around, but fear prevailed. What when Hades deceived him? When they almost reached the exit, Orpheus couldn't stand it and looked back. At this moment, he saw Eurydice's pale face stretching out to his hands, but her body began to melt like a shadow, and she disappeared again into the darkness of the underworld. Orpheus stretched out his arms, tried to grab her, but it was too late. Goodbye. Her faint voice sounded, and she disappeared forever. The loneliness and death of Orpheus. Orpheus tried to descend to Hades again, but this time underground the gods remained deaf to his requests. Eventually, he abandoned people, abandoned women, and wandered the world singing sad songs about his lost love. According to one version, he was torn apart by the Maenads, who were angry that he did not pay attention to them. His head and lyre were thrown into the river, but they were still singing his sad melody. The soul of Orpheus was reunited with Eurydice in the underworld, and there they stayed together forever. Symbolism of myth, love and loss. Even the strongest love can't overcome death. The power of art. Music can enchant even the gods. Fate and human weakness. Even great heroes can give in to the doubts that lead to tragedy. The myth of Orpheus and Eurydice is an eternal story about love that was able to overcome death, but remained to live in legends.